you can inform people, you can shock people, you can educate them, you can make them feel a lot of things through these mediums. How do you feel about informing the public about these climate change topics?
It's all about collaboration. That's what gets people fired up. That's what gets people involved. If you attack people or you demonize people or you try and scare people, you're going to get pushback. Obviously, nobody likes feeling like they're put in the hot seat and they're being questioned or debated. The same goes for if you're overly optimistic. If you're trying to get people involved in this utopian vision that, oh, everything is going to be fine if we just all work together, and that's not realistic. And I think people know that. I think you have to find that middle ground of, we really want to build a better world and we really want to work towards this goal that's larger than ourselves, but we have to get in and do the nitty gritty. It's going to be a lot of work. And here's some ways to get involved that aren't overwhelming. Wanting to take those steps, but doing it in little bite-sized pieces that's achievable in your day-to-day life. Because people get busy. My whole life is this, and I still run out of time in the day. So you got to approach people like, I understand that this might not be the biggest priority in your life, but these are some small steps that you can start doing to get involved, and that'll build.
I think just the mere fact of doing something already puts your wheels in motion. Like you see things in a different way. You think about things a lot more. Like ever since we did the Albania trip to do the river cleanup, wipe off all the plastic from the beach. Like every time I see some plastic, like it's a no-go. Like you want to drink a Coke, yeah, better be in a can or preferably in a glass bottle, which can be recycled, because otherwise it's not getting into the home. It's just super stiff stuff like that that it triggers you in a way that you wouldn't expect if you don't make those first little steps.
The education component kind of comes in to that equation, at least for me, in the sense of, this is how to get involved. It's not just educating about here's the problem, but it's educating of, this is what the solution is, and this is some, stepping stones that you can sort of hop on to get yourself to a better place and a better understanding. And so education needs to be looked at from a holistic standpoint. Education of the problem, education of the whole system, education of how to get involved, education of who's in charge, who you need to talk to. I think if you sort of hold people's hand in that way, then it gets people a lot more inspired a lot quicker. And it actually gets more people involved than just saying, here's this problem, go figure it out.
How do you incorporate that into Curious Earthlings?
I think the collaboration approach is really what works the most, at least for me. That inspires me and gets me involved, and I kind of test it with people. I'll show it to friends and family and other, filmmakers in the area, and sort of get their reactions. And I feel like sort of the formula that seems to be really good at getting people involved is making them feel like they're involved before they even take the first step. And that might be obvious from a scientific standpoint. If you look at climate, we're all in one giant interconnected system, but I think people don't think about that on their day-to-day life. And their normal everyday going to work, like that's not a thing you think about, which is a shame, and I think that's a problem. And I think demonstrating that through showing, the local ecosystems and getting people out in nature and so on and so forth, that's really key. So I would say collaboration and having that call to action in the storytelling. So it's not just a passive thing. It's more, here's these horrible things that are happening, or here's these huge problems that we need to solve. And this is how you can, whenever you put your phone down or you walk out of the theater or whatever it is, this is what you can immediately do to start getting involved.
Is there something that you feel like we haven't touched upon?
2024 for me is going to be doubling down on everything that I stand by and everything that I want to focus on. It's an extremely, extremely important year, both globally and locally, for the climate. There's sort of a paradigm shift that's happening. 2023 was the hottest year on record. 2024 may or may not be worse. Obviously, that's a problem. And everybody needs to be involved in this, because everybody is involved whether they want to be or not. So it's better to take positive action, even if it's small steps, than to just ignore it and hope somebody else solves it. I think that's the biggest hurdle, is that other people are thinking somebody else will solve it, or somebody else will get involved, somebody else will sign that petition. It's us, it's me, it's you, it's everyone. And 2024, I think, is the year that we're going to really start to see that. So for me personally, I'm doubling down on content. I'm doubling down on going out and trying to tell these stories, on getting involved in local politics. I'm really starting to kind of take this seriously. Hopefully others do the same.